So we're on question 13. It basically gives us a table with information about two regular polygons for each calculation. So in this case, I drew it out very, very poorly, as you can see. So I have a polygon with 5 sides. So in this case, I have a pentagon, which has 5 sides. And here I have 9 sides, so it's a nonagon. You don't really need to know the names of this, but I like having names. So what we can do here is we have to calculate for the sum of the interior angles. And how do we do that? We do this formula. So we're going to use sum equals n minus 2 times 180 degrees. So how do we read this formula? This s here indicates sum. So the sum of all the interior angles. This n just denotes the number of sides of your polygon. And so it's n minus 2 times 180. So how do we figure out the sum of the interior angles for a pentagon? So we can actually plug in our equation. We can say here n here equals 5 because that's the number of sides times 180 degrees. This will equal, sum will have to equal 5 minus 2. We do brackets first because in BEDMAS. So 5 minus 2 here is 3 times 180 degrees. This will equal 540 degrees as our sum. So the sum of interior angles here in this case is 540 degrees. And then the measure, how do we figure out the measure of any angle? So any int angle is basically the sum of our angles, so 540 degrees divided by the number of sides, so n. So in this case it's 5. So this is going to plug it into this calculator. This is going to give us 108 degrees. So that's for our pentagon here. So can we now do this for our nonagon? So let's try this with a nonagon. So this is now, again, we're using our same equation. Sum equals n minus 2 times 180 degrees. It's going to equal n minus 2. In this case, n is 9. So n is 9 here. We do 9 minus 2 first in brackets. So 7 times 180 degrees. That's going to give us, let's take out my calculator. 7 times 180 gives us 1260. So the sum of the angles here, the sum of all interior angles in our nonagon is 1260 degrees. Any interior angle, which means we can do our sum divided by number of sides, which is 9. So that's going to give us an answer of 140 degrees. Thanks, calculator. So 140 degrees. So now we've completed our chart. And now we have another follow-up question that says, another regular pentagon has an interior angle of 160. So basically they give us any int angle is 160. How many sides does this polygon? So we want to find out n, right? How many sides does this have? So what we can do is we actually knew how to figure this out, right? We knew how to figure out any interior angle with this formula. We basically did here sum of interior angles divided by n, which is number of sides, equals any int angle, right? So now we can plug in our formula here because we know the sum of interior angles. We know that we've used our equation before. It's n minus 2 times 180, right? And we have to divide that by n again to figure out any int angle. In this case, it's 160, right? So now we have to solve for n. So how do we do that? So let's do it. So n minus 2 times 180 divided by n. What we want to do first is I'm going to multiply n by both sides to get rid of the denominator here. So n minus 2 times 180 equals 160n. Now what we can do is we can actually divide both sides by 180 to get rid of this 180 here, right? So dividing by both sides by 180 would give us 160n divided by 180. 180. And what I want to do now is I'm going to, I don't know if I'm going to, I don't know if I'm going to do that actually. Let's do something else. Because I want basically all the ends on one side and whatnot, right? I want all the ends on one side. So let's move n minus 2 to the other side. So I'm going to divide both sides by n minus 2. So I'm going to have 180 equals 160n times, sorry, divided by 160n divided by n minus 2. Because I'm dividing n minus 2 by both sides. And now I have to be able to isolate for this n. So 160n divided by n minus 2. So let's see, I have to do, how do I solve this equation? So n minus n here divided by n minus 2. Actually, what I can do is that's probably not the best way to do it. I can actually do 180 and I can multiply in first, right? So I know that because I can rewrite this as 180 times n minus 2 equals 160n, right? So I can multiply this 180 into the brackets first. So it's 180n minus 180 times n is 180n. 180 times negative 2 here is 360 equals 160n. Now I can simply move 180n to the other side. So I'm subtracting both sides by 180n. I'm gonna get negative 360 on this side. I'm gonna get 160n minus 180n, which is negative 20n. Now I can do, I can divide both sides by negative 20 here. So n will have to be, let's use my calculator, negative 360 divided by negative 20 will give me n here equals 18. So my polygon in this case has 18 sides.